Hello, today I would like to show you the way of preserving olives. When I was a young boy, I lived in Greece. I lived in a town called Nea Smirni, and right across the street, our neighbors, the last name was Nterzioti, and they were just nice people. And coming back from elementary school, I was friends with their son. His name is Taki. So Mrs. Nterzioti will say to us, "Bring back olives." Well, in Greece, olive trees are everywhere, and for the most part, the olives just, people don't pick olives in Athens. In the suburb of Athens, they just let them fall down, and they get thrown in the garbage. And so Takis and I would come back from elementary school, would fill our pockets with olives and give them to Mrs. Nterzioti. And then like 2-3 weeks later, she would go through a process. She would make olives Tsakistes, which is, we would take, she would wash the olives very well. And then Takis and I would be sitting outside in the yard, and we'll have a piece of marble rock, and we would hit the olive to break it, to open it up, and put it in a jar for to pickle it. And so these people never bought olives. They had free olives forever. So I was at the supermarket my favorite supermarket in Newburgh, Adams, and so I went out. They had there, and I bought green olives, and I'll show you how I used to make olives back in the day, in the 60s. So let me just move the. So what I will do, first we need to wash the olives. Many dirt, sand, most olives are completely green. There are a couple of olives, a few olives that they're a little bit darker, but most olives are just maybe I can just put them here. Yeah. So put them in a container, vessel, and fill it up with water. We'll do so with the sign. And we would let these olives sit here for 3 days. So what I will do, I will cover them up, and now it's Monday morning, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday morning. I'll come back, and I have a mallet. I know I have a mallet here. Yep. Back in the day, I used to have, Takis and I would get a piece of marble rock, and we'll put the olives down and smash them with the rock, and now I'm gonna use the mallet. All right, see you in 3 days. Hello. This is the continuation of preserving green olives. I left the olives for 3 days sitting in water. Didn't have to change the water. Didn't have to add any salt. just let them sit in the plain old water for 3 days. And now let me just should be better. So what I have now, I'll prepare a colander here, and I'm going to drain the water. I have some paper towels, a mallet. I wanted to show you two different types of salts that I'm going to be using. Good old vinegar from supermarket vinegar, some extra towels, and I have a vessel large enough to hold the olives. Okay, so in Greece they call this method Tsakistes, which means smashed. So what I will do now, I will prepare a little piece of a little area here. I'm going to put an olive. I'm going to get the mallet, bengi bengi, and I will, I like to remove the pit, and I'm going to put it in the sink later on. I'm going to put the pit in my mulch pile, and I take the crushed olive and I put it into the jar. Then I continue. If you don't have to remove the pit, but I do. So this will take about a half hour or so. So I will stop the video, and I will continue in a few minutes. In the meantime, let me just show you. I have salt here. You want to use the kind of salt that's plain old salt right here. I don't know if you can see it. Right here, it says no additives, just salt. Same thing as this one. This is sea salt. This salt does not provide, is not a supply of iodine, because some salts contain iodine, and we don't want to use those salts. You want to use plain old salt, nothing added to it. So I will do a few of these olives, and every once in a while I will throw a little bit of vinegar and a little bit of salt. As soon as you accumulate about 15-20 olives, throw a little bit of vinegar, a little bit of salt. Now I've accumulated about 20 olives. I'm going to throw just a little bit of salt. Just a little bit. And a little bit of vinegar. Shake it a little bit. It was getting just a little bit too, it was way too time consuming smashing the olive and removing the pit. So I'm just smashing the olives now. I got too lazy. It's the same thing. Not a big deal. You want to make sure that when you smash the olive, you get a nice, and if you just bang it a little bit, you don't have, the olive is not crushed. You want to crush the olive and open it up, because if you try to eat the olive now, it's very bitter. So we want to sweeten the olive up, and by crushing it, you do that. There's another method of curing, of processing the olives, and you cure them in salty water and vinegar, but that takes months, and I just don't have that kind of time. So there you go. I bought this jar from Michael's. La, da, 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 da. So when I was a kid, I would sit in, we'll go across the street to my friend Nterzioti, Panagiotaki. Taki was his name. And we would sit in the backyard, and had marble rocks, and we would just, smash the olives that we had picked from the trees around the neighborhood. And his family had olives for, good olives, not the kind of olives that you buy at the supermarket. Okay, so a little bit more salt again. A little bit more vinegar. And in the end, we're going to fill the whole thing with water. But whoops. I love olives, and I missed eating these homemade olives. Back in the day when I used to go to Avlonari in Greece, a village in part of Greece called Evia. I would go there, and they would pick the olives. And I was never good at, they would lay under the tree like a canvas, big piece of canvas, and they had these long meaning like 15 feet long sticks, and they would hit the branches, and the olives would fall down. I just I was never good at that. But I was good at picking the olives from the ground. Good old days. I used to go to Avlonari and spend time with my mom's cousin, her family. Her name was Athena. And her husband Pavlos was the butcher, the village butcher. And he would take me and show me how to butcher animals, and I used to help him. Okay, 5 more olives. 3 more olives. 2 more olives. 1 more olive. Done. Okie doke. Just clear this. And some more salt. And a little bit of vinegar. And I'll put a little bit of water, cold water. And mix it all in a little bit. And now, so what I'm going to do now, you want to have this vessel, this jar open, you want it to breathe, you don't want to close it with the lid. You do not want to use the lid. So what I will do is, you want to submerge the olives in the water. You don't want to have an olive sticking up, breathing air. So what I will do, I will take one of these you have the supermarket type of Ziploc bag, and I will make sure it's nicely tied. Okay, and I will put this right on top here. I think it has too much water. I'll remove some of the water. I'll remove some of the water. You want to make sure it's nice and tight, the Ziploc bag, and then you put it on the top. Perfect. And this pushes the olives down a little bit. So what I will do, I will change this mixture, this solution, this very simple solution, twice a day for the next 7 days. About the 5th day, I will taste one of the olives and see how they taste, and if they taste to my satisfaction, I will remove them from the jar, and but if I like to have the olives a little bit sweet, so they will stay here for about a week. I'll change the water twice a day, and I will see you in a week. This isn't too much. It's a 10-day process. 3 days to in the water, then about 5 to 7 days in this vinegar, water, salt brine, and then we're gonna mix them up a little bit, and I'll show you what to do. Hello. 3 days later into the marinating of the olives, the green olives. I just want to show you what I do when I change the water. I change the water twice a day, and I'll do that for 2 more days. Tomorrow, the 4th day, tomorrow evening, early afternoon, late early afternoon, I will taste a little bit of an olive and see how it is, and I'll take it from there. So I have ready my trusted salt. It's it's just salt, right? There is nothing else in there, and also I have vinegar. So let me take you in. Here we are. I have this plastic container here, just in case there's a little bit of a spillage. I'll remove the bag with the water, the seal bag, the Ziploc bag, and I put the bag to push the olives so they're below the water. If the olives are exposed to the air, they're going to get dark. So now I'm going to pick it up, empty out the water in the sink. Okay, nothing to it. I will add a wee bit of salt. Just a touch, maybe a teaspoon of salt, then a splash of white vinegar, and the rest cool water from the tap. And I fill it high enough so the olives are sort of submerged. And now I'm going to take my my trusted Ziploc bag with the water. There you go. Made a little bit of a mess. I put this here and put it away. And I will do the same thing tomorrow morning when I get up. After I feed the cat around 7 o'clock, about a little bit earlier, a little bit later, I will change the water, put it away. Of course, this is stored in a cool, dry, away from a window place. You don't want to put it near the window. And you know, so I do it at 7 o'clock in the morning and then in the afternoon. Hello, I'm crushing coriander seeds. Today is the last and final step to curing green olives. They're called Tsakistes, which means crushed. And so let me bring you a little bit closer. So I have my olives here. I sliced about 2 heads of garlic. Here I have a mixture of basil leaves, rosemary leaves, and oregano, so all nicely mixed. And here I was just finishing crushing coriander seeds. And I put them in transparent membrane, and I used my mallet to crush them to release, you know, the awesome flavor of theirs. There you go, that's good enough. Of course, as I was crushing the garlic, I was saving here the leaves, the paper. Okay, so I have my colander here. Let me just show you what I've done. Just bring this a little bit closer. What I've done with my my olives. In order to keep the olives submerged in the water, I used a Ziploc bag. And I put a little bit of water in the Ziploc bag, and I put it on top of the jar, and I was pushing the olives so they're always submerged. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to empty them in the colander. This will need to be washed and be reused. And I have here several little jars, 3 pint and 1 half pint jar that I will fill. But also what I need a little lemon. And I will slice the lemon. And I need 1, 2, 3, 4 slices. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I have my lemon ready, my jars. So I'm gonna pick a few of the crushed olives. I'm gonna squeeze them just a little bit because they have water in them. And I have one wide mouth, one narrow mouth jar. I found the narrow mouth jars very inexpensive. There was a sale, clearance, reduced, come and get them, 50% off. So as I fill them, I'm going to add a little bit of the garlic, a little bit of spices here. I'm going to put a little bit on the bottom too. A little bit at a time. I squeeze the extra water. In the sink. Throw in a little bit of garlic, a little bit of the spices. And I try to push them down a little bit. There we go. So it's getting near the top. You know, you can also put jalapeno peppers near the top or inside these jars. They're about time filled. Put a little bit more garlic, put a little bit of the spices. And one piece of lemon on the top. Oh, to do there's quite a bit of water coming. I'm able to squeeze out of the olives. Throw in some more garlic. fill this jar. There you go. I wasn't sure how much I will be able to fill here. Okay, rinse hands. Got a slice of lemon here too. And the next step before sealing the jars is the olive oil. I have this, I buy this olive oil from a local supermarket here. It's labeled Kalamata, but let's see. And this is this is a product of Greece, a Greek production from Kalamata. So usually what I do is I go through the labels and I make sure that the olive oil comes from one country, so, or one region, in this case Kalamata. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some olive oil. And you know, normally, you know, the on TV they say, oh, use your best olive oil, use good olive oil. Well, but they never define what good olive oil is. So good olive oil comes from the same region, same country. There you go. Okay, good. And here there's one olive left. I'm gonna have that as an appetizer later. Okay, so I'm gonna close this and put it on the side. And I'm gonna use a paper towel to clean the mouth of the jar, for no other reason other cleanliness. We're not going to water bath these jars, obviously. And these will stay just the way they are for about a year, but in my house they will last no more than a month. So here's the wide mouth. So I filled 3 quarts. The lemon will keep the olives from turning you know, white and brown. You know, it will be wonderful. So before I open these, I will wait for a week, and then I will use them. And this is going to be great. And you know, this is going to make a great Christmas gift too. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. I hope you find this video useful, and I will see you. Oh, make sure you subscribe, you like, and you subscribe this video. Thank you. Bye.